So in this video, we're going to look at the book of Obadiah, and it's very short. It's just one chapter. So when we think about who wrote the book of Obadiah, it was Obadiah, and again, just like all the other prophets, he identifies himself in chapter 1, verse 1. When we think about who it was written to the Israelites, but it was concerning the nation of Edom, letting the Israelites know that that the Edomites were going to be destroyed because they had kind of been a thorn in their heel for a while and had caused them some grief, and God was going to encourage them that their enemy was going to be punished. When we think about how much time is covered, we're not really sure because, again, there's no king reference given at the beginning. Most people think it was during the Babylonian captivity, close to the destruction of the temple, because the Babylonian captivity happened in several waves. So it was after the captivity had started, but it was before the temple had been destroyed or very close to it. But based on the text, it seems like that Jerusalem had been invaded. Okay, when we think about the main idea, again, I'm going to refer to the publication, the House to House publication that I have read from before. So Obadiah. The book of Obadiah warns the complacent descendants of Esau. So remember way back in Genesis, you had Jacob and Esau that were twins. Well, Esau went on to, his descendants became the nation of Edom. So they were unbrotherly to Judah. So Jehovah is going to bring those arrogant rebels down from their lofty hideouts. So based on history and scripture, they lived like on a hill in rock. So they thought that nobody could get to them and that they were safe. But God had other things to say about that. When we think about notable characters, it was Obadiah himself, the nation of Edom, and then, of course, God. And again, in this text, he is referred to as Lord, all uppercase letters. Notable events, really just the key thought that Edom's going to be punished because they rejoiced when Israel or Judah's destruction. When we think about where on the timeline, again, like we said before, it's during the Babylonian captivity. When we think about Jesus, there's some really kind of prophetic, difficult things to understand about the day of the Lord and the kingdom of the Lord there at the end, starting in verse 15 through the end of the chapter. Well, it's just one chapter, so it's through the end of the book. But again, I'm not going to try to pull those out since it's just an overview. If you're interested, you can consult some other commentaries that are deeper than this. If you are interested, I would look into Wayne Jackson's commentary on the prophets. I've heard those are really good if you want to delve deeper. When we think about why study the book of Obadiah, it just really shows us that we never should rejoice or help in the destruction, especially of a brother. And just because time passes doesn't mean that sin is okay. And we should never have pride. Edom had great pride. It shows that God is sovereign. And also sometimes actions can have long-term effects. So something that Obadiah did, no, not Obadiah, something that Edom did had long-term effects. So I hope this has been helpful to kind of summarize the short, very short, sometimes maybe overlooked book of Obadiah. You could probably sit and read it if you're a fast reader and just read it. You could probably read it in just a couple of minutes. If you slowed down and really tried to understand it and dug into it, maybe 30 minutes max to gain some more understanding on the book of Obadiah. So I hope it's been helpful.